I have got a huge crock of chili going. I have dialed in what I think is the perfect chili recipe for our family here, and today I'm going to share it with you. So let's take you back in time. We're even going to go shopping, and we'll get this chili put together, and I will give you our family chili recipe that we absolutely love. Thanks for tuning in. Okay, we're running to the store for some chili ingredients. So I've never really had a recipe for chili. I've just made it. Some batches better than others. But I made a point of really trying to zero in on a recipe that we liked, and I think I have it. It is what I call the perfect chili, at least for me and my family. So I thought I'd do a video on it. So it'll be an indoor cook today, and we're gonna go to the grocery store and pick up the ingredients. So we'll probably do a little shooting at the grocery store. So we'll bring you back. So when I don't go to the big box store like Kroger, this is my go-to strip mall grocery store. There are some things I like about it and some things I don't, but when I don't want to get into the crowds of a Kroger, this is right down the street. So last year we didn't feel like putting up the big artificial Christmas tree, so we just got one of these. It was actually pretty nice. So I don't need all of the ingredients here. We have some. So there are a few things I need to get though. All right. So I like to use 3 pounds of meat. 80-20 or 85-15 is good. These are about 1.2 pounds, and I like to use breakfast sausage. For a pound. You don't have to do that. We really like meaty chili though, so that's why I use 3 pounds of meat, but we're also going to do a big pot. Need a medium-sized onion. We may actually have these at home, but I can't remember. That's a good looking onion. Gotta consult my list. Gotta love Rotel. And I like these fire roasted tomatoes. Go ahead and grab some baked beans. Yes, baked beans and chili. Give it a try sometime. But you could certainly go without beans or with normal chili beans, whatever you wanted. But if you haven't ever tried baked beans in chili, trust me. Can't remember if we need tomato sauce or not, but it'll save if we don't. All right. I think that is just about all we need to pick up. All right, let's get home and get this chili going. All right, home again. So we'll get inside, get the ingredients prepped, and then we'll bring you back and throw this chili together. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to brown our ground beef here. We have this green pan slow cooker, and it's the best slow cooker we've ever owned. Every other slow cooker from crock pot or whatever seems to only have one setting, which is called burn the crap out of your food. This thing is perfect. It's really a nice slow cooker. Found it on sale, and I think I got it for Mrs. BuQeye BBQ for Christmas or something a while back, but it works great. So I'm going to actually brown ground beef in this. It's got a saute / browning setting. Otherwise, I would use that cast iron pan that you might be able to see in the background there to brown the ground beef. But I really like to get a nice crusty brown on at least one side of the ground beef. It adds flavor, so that's what I like to do. So we're going to turn this brown on and start. Okay, and I'm just going to get the ground beef in there, and the sausage for that matter. So get that first package in. And again, this is 85-15. 80-20 is okay. Either way, I'm going to end up trying to get a little of the grease out of here. And this is going to be pretty meaty chili because it's going to be a little over 3 pounds of ground beef. So what I like to do is just get that contact really good down there on the bottom of the pan. Again, use another skillet if you want to. I'm going to get this sausage opened up and down there, and we'll bring you back. Okay, so this meat is browning. Got the sausage and the ground beef. I don't really want to turn it yet. I really want to keep it browning, but I am going to start breaking it up. One thing I like is small chunks of ground beef in my chili. Some people like large, so either way, you can do it. It doesn't matter. But I like to really break it down to have small crumbles. So there we go. We're going to let this keep browning. I have got essentially all my ingredients sitting here ready to go. Cans open. So let's go through these real fast. So I've got 2 cans of baked beans. Again, I love baked beans and chili. It's not for everybody. Use whatever beans you want, or don't use beans at all. I've got 2 cans of tomato sauce, and what I think is a really important ingredient, and this is the branded by the store that we went to, but fire roasted diced tomatoes. I think that adds great flavor. And then I've also got 2 cans of Rotel. These are both mild. You can go with the regular Rotel for sure, be a little bit spicier, or mix it up 1 and 1. I actually thought I had a regular one, so I picked up a mild. Turns out I have 2 mild. That'll be totally fine. We must have 45 bottles of hot sauce in this house if people want more spice. For chili seasoning, I love this How to Barbecue Right, Malcom's Bonafide chili seasoning. But you can use whatever you want. One of the McCormick's packs. Just use however much you need to go with the amount of ground beef you're doing. And you can make your own too. You know, cumin, chili powder, salt, pepper, garlic, all of that. Whatever you want to do. I just love this, and it's easy, and I have a whole new bottle of it. I also have 2 cups of homemade bone broth. This happens to be chicken. Beef would be great, of course, but chicken works really well, believe it or not. So homemade is much better as far as I'm concerned, but if you just had the box, that would be fine, I'm sure. These days we always have some frozen homemade bone broth on the ready. So that's what I'm using. Other thing we have is that diced onion, medium. I do smaller chunks. At least one of the boys is a little onion shy, but they always seem to eat it fine in chili, but I do dice it pretty small. The other thing I have for a little more umami flavor is some Better Than Bullion. This happens to be beef, so I'm going to add a spoonful of that as well. And that is our chili, along with the meat, of course. So we'll bring you back and we'll put this all together. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and start breaking this meat up more now. You notice that kind of crusty brown edge there? That's exactly what I was looking for. That will add a good amount of flavor to this. So we're just gonna go through and get this broken up. And we really wanna make sure we render a lot of that fat out so our chili is not, greasy. So we're just gonna let this keep going. I bet another 10 or 15 minutes probably, and then we will go from there. So see you in a minute. All right, well, this beef is continuing to break down. First of all, I'm not seeing a ton of grease in here. Like, I'm not gonna worry about draining grease out of this. If I had pooling grease, a lot of it, I probably would, but this really isn't too bad. So the next thing I'm gonna do, and this is just because my chicken bone broth is frozen, I'm gonna put these blocks in here and just let them start thawing out and liquefying. I really wouldn't worry too much about this if I had liquid stock ready to go. So we'll let this keep going and we'll bring it back. Okay, so we've got our ground beef, our chicken bone broth is all melted and good. Notice that crusty piece of ground beef. That's all over the place in this chili, and that's what I really like. It adds so much flavor. But so far this is looking really good. So I'm going to add a few different things. I'm going to go ahead and add my Better Than Bullion. Actually, probably just going to add this whole thing because there's not much left. So it's probably a little more than I would have added had this thing not been close to empty, but it'll be good. I'm not worried about it. It'll just add more flavor. Put the spoon down in there and try to get that off. The other thing I'm going to add, and this is totally optional, but I have some, this is umami powder. If you've never tried this, and I've changed, I put it in my own container. Look in the description below where I have the products I use. Find the umami powder and get yourself some. It is so good. I just add it to a variety of things. And we're just going to do a little sprinkle of that. No special measurement there. So I'm going to grab a wooden spoon and get this mixed up, and we'll bring you back for the rest of the ingredients here. All right, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to stop this because it's still on the 400 degrees browning mode, and we're going to go slow cook. Oop. Gotta know how to work this. Slow cook on low, and it's automatic for 8 hours, so that's what we're going to do there. So this is going to slow down here. That is looking great so far. Next thing I'm going to add, and I messed something up here. I meant to add half of these onions, and by the way, this is chopped onions and garlic. I meant to add about half of this to the browning meat, about halfway through the browning, and I forgot. So no big deal. We're just going to put them all in now. There we go. Put that out of the way. Sorry about the messy kitchen, by the way. Just get that mixed in. Already smelling terrific. You can use whatever kind of onion you want here. If you're a red onion fan, whatever. I like those sweet onions. Alright, we're going to let this go for a few minutes, and we'll bring you back, and we're pretty close to just dumping everything. So, see you in a minute. Alright, you can see that has come down quite a bit in temperature. That was pretty quick. It's only been 4 minutes since I moved it to low on the slow cooking mode. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put my beans in, mostly because I don't want these to splash, dropping into a chili that's more liquid. So just going to clean out these cans. And you can get, if you want to try the baked beans, get any kind you want. This happens to be just what the store I went to had, this country style version. Okay, here we go. Now I'm just going to give these a good mix before we add anything else. And because of that essentially extra ½ pound of meat, because this is really a recipe for 3 pounds of meat, this is going to be a full pot, which is okay. All right, get that mixed around nicely. Next, I'm going to go ahead and add my seasoning. So for this particular Malcom's Bonafide chili seasoning, it calls for 2 tablespoons per pound of meat, but I don't like to go that high. For one reason, adding the Rotel adds a little chili spice to it. I also added that umami powder, which definitely has some salt in it. It's really salt and dried shiitake mushrooms. But don't worry about the mushrooms. I'm not a mushroom fan, and I love that stuff. It really adds to it. So I'm going to go, instead of 6 tablespoons, I'm going to go 4. There we go. And again, use whatever chili seasoning you want. I just like this stuff. And before we go any further, I'm going to go ahead and get this mixed around. There we go. And now I'm just going to start adding the rest of our stuff. I've got our 2 cans of mild Rotel here. There we go. Stir that on a little bit. And I've got our 2 cans of diced, or excuse me, yeah, fire roasted diced tomatoes. I'm actually going to take a little liquid out of this just because I know how full this chili is going to be. Dump those in. I'm going to do the same thing here. I don't normally do this. I'm just a little worried about it overflowing. And see that fire roasted markings there? These really add a nice flavor to the chili. Optional, totally optional. Regular diced tomatoes would be fine. All right, and now we have 2 cans of tomato sauce. I'm just gonna dump those straight in. And there, folks, is our finished chili. Finished other than slow cooking for a couple hours at least. So now I'm gonna stir this up. And before too long, I want to let this warm a little bit just because I think you can get a better taste that way. But I'm going to go ahead and taste this, see if it needs any salt. It might need a little spice. I might add a little dried chili flake or something like that. But you always want to taste your stuff. Chili's no different. You know, maybe I'll come back and add a little more of Malcom's seasoning. We'll see. So I'm going to let this slow cook for maybe a ½ hour. And again, it doesn't have to be hot, but I want it to be a little warmer when I try it because I think I'll just get a better idea of the flavor then. But we're going to put the lid on this and bring you back. Okay, so this has been going for a little bit, maybe 30 minutes. I'm sure it's not super hot, but I don't care about that. I just want to try it to make sure we don't need to add anything immediately. So I try to get a bite of about everything if I can. There, that'll be good. I love what those fire roasted tomatoes do. I'm going to say that does not need anything at all. It isn't super spicy, probably just because I had those 2 mild cans of Rotel. But again, people can add hot sauce as they want. I may add some crushed red pepper because I have some home dehydrated peppers from the garden. Matter of fact, let's just do that right now. So these peppers all came out of our garden. Whew. I remember when I crushed these, I felt like somebody had sprayed me with bear spray. But we'll just drop a little bit of that in, not much. You don't want to overspice it because you can always add spice later. And stir it around. Then we're going to get the lid on this and let it go at least a couple of hours. I think the longer the better. And again, the nice thing about this green pan slow cooker is it's not going to overcook it, which I have, in my experience, every slow cooker we've had has overcooked things. But this chili is done except for time, so we're going to give it its time and we'll come back and we'll give this the official try. Okay, let's give this chili a try. Smells really good. Just gonna scoop myself a little dish here. I don't want to burn myself. Oh man, that is good. I'm glad to have a documented recipe. This really is the best chili I've ever had. A lot of liberties you can take with this, but I will put the base recipe in the description. Again, if you've never tried baked beans and chili, but you like baked beans, it just adds a little bit of sweetness, great flavor. Give it a try, see if you like it. Having the 1/3 of this as sausage, breakfast sausage, adds a lot to it. Outstanding chili. Hope you enjoyed this indoor cook at BuQeye BBQ. Do me a favor, like this video, subscribe to the channel. I'd appreciate it, and we will see you next time. Man, that's freaking good.